like I know with when my mum passed, my grandparents couldn't be, traditionally they couldn't be there.
Yeah.
And my,
They're not supposed to bury their children, isn't it?
yeah, and my,
Yeah.
my uncle couldn't be at the funeral. And
Because he's older, right?
yeah. And same way with, when one of my close family friends passed, the mum wasn't there.
Okay.
Yeah, she wasn't there. So, but I don't know what other cultures do that though.
We don't necessarily do that, but we actually no, I'm lying. We do. We do. I know with the children, you're not supposed to bury your children. So, like for
Yeah.
example, you can go to things like the memorial and all of that, but where they go to bury them, you're not allowed to go to.
As in you can't visit the graves. I mean, with
So,
the,
like the day of the funeral,
yeah,
the day that they're putting that body in the ground, you're not allowed to go to the burial
yeah.
site.
I wonder who like made that up though. I can understand it, but I feel like over here in the UK, you're not really gonna. I don't think that it will be like that. If got as sad as it is, if someone lost a child, they're gonna go to the funeral.
It's interesting that you say that though, because I know certain people that have followed those traditions. Like for example, someone that I know, their auntie passed away, and because the mum was the older sister, she
Yeah.
didn't come to the funeral. She was at home.
Is it?
Yeah, and to me, I found that quite surprising because I thought, well, we're not back home, so wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
but those I don't know, man. I don't want to have to follow any grief tradition, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna say if happened to me because God forbid, innit? But I just feel like with those things, yeah, I don't know. It's hard, man. I don't. I don't know. And do you know what? I think you're. Don't know anyone. There's not anyone that I know of, and that's why like that have gone through baby loss, but maybe because a lot of people won't speak about it, and that's cool. That's fair in it. Like, you know what I mean, it's not something you're gonna just be. Yeah, some people, I wouldn't want to speak about it, innit? Do you know what I mean? So like I get it.
Do you know what's so weird? So okay, well, the last time we did this was 2019.
Yeah, 20 was that 2019?
I'm sure it was
Yeah,
2019.
2019,
Yeah, that was
2019.
October 2019. So at that point, as of that point, sorry, I should say, I had had 7 miscarriages by 2017, yeah? And then we did
Yeah.
it 2019. Okay, cool. And then earlier this year, I had another
You know what?
one.
No, sorry to interrupt you, because this I always do this in my head where like I just start chatting
Yeah.
and I don't do introductions. So I thought I'm trying to from now I'm trying to be better. Where, you know what, just do it, because sometimes I'm always like, oh, like intros always seem a bit. I don't want it. I want it to be organic.
Yeah,
So when I think about it, it's like, okay, then I just overthink it and I don't end up doing it. So you know, for those of you listening, this is Laura, a good friend of mine. She's actually been on the podcast before. This is her second time, and it's a special one because it's baby loss awareness week.
Yeah.
So she's coming here to share a story and talk about how that has shaped her, not just how it shaped her mentally and just to raise awareness in it. So yeah, that's so we can continue now. So sorry for interrupting.
No worries. Well, thanks for having me back.
It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah. So since I was last here, unfortunately, I've had another miscarriage. So, but yeah, the reason why that came to my mind like that is because of what you just said, that not everyone wants to talk about. And it's so interesting that like up until every loss I had up until 2017, I was so vocal about, okay, yeah, this was happened to me. This is how I dealt with it. I did counseling, I did this, I did that, and whatever. And then since this one's happened, for some reason, I can't talk about this particular loss, which I've tried to work out in my head how that makes sense, because it's the same thing. You kind of think if you've been through this multiple times before and it happens again, it's the same thing, right? So technically you kind of should be able to apply the same theory to it and cope with it in the same way, but I haven't been able to.
But you know, when you spoke about the previous times, the reason why you're not able to, do you think that's because you feel like you had expectation to speak about it because you've done it before?
No, I don't really feel like I necessarily had expectation, but I don't know. I feel like maybe it's, even though like if you calculate altogether it's 7 up until 2017,
Yeah.
I almost took it as like it was one episode, if that makes sense. So I've gone through the grief, I've done the counselling, I've got a diagnosis from the hospital, and then I've just kind of filed it away in a box.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, cool. So this happening, it weirdly feels like it's a brand new thing, but it's kind of not.
Yeah, but
So, and I feel like it's weird because in the past, because I think I didn't do my counselling until either the 4th or the 5th miscarriage. So then anything that happened after that, I was able to apply the coping mechanisms that I was given, and I was okay. But for some odd reason, I just haven't been able to do it. I haven't been able to talk about it. There's probably like maybe 5 people that know, if that. Even now, stuff like to do with having to, go back to my GP and get referrals and all of these things, I haven't been able to do it because anything related to it, it's like I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried that if I do address it, I'm going to end up back in a place I was like when I had my first one, where I just, for months, I didn't do anything. I didn't function. I literally could sit on the sofa all day and not move and just, do you know what I mean? And I need to function right now. I've got stuff to do. So I don't know if it's a good thing that I've kind of just shelved it for the minute, but at some point I'm going to have to deal with it, but I'm not ready to.
But you know, it's me, and just me. I feel like that's also fine in terms of like, and I think with grief is like, even though it's happened on numerous occasions, it doesn't mean that you have to deal with it the same way, or as in deal with it like in the same like timely manner, if that makes sense. So it's happened before, but so if you want to not deal with it now and then maybe address it at whatever point you want to, that's fine as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think, but do you feel like how do you feel like the previous I don't know if this is a mad question to ask. Like, I guess how do you feel like the previous miscarriage has affected you mentally, and in the way it has, do you feel like that's the part of the reason why like you don't want to deal with it now? Which is not, again, like it's not a bad thing, you don't want to deal with it now, because there's no like there's no expiry date with grief. So if you want to deal with it 6 months, yeah, or it doesn't matter, because it's down to you. No one can tell you when, you know what I mean, when to do it. But do you feel like those things has played a part? Like,
I feel like it's definitely made me a lot more sensitive to other people.
Yeah.
In terms of how they've dealt with grief and things. So like kind of removing that expectation and thinking, okay, well, this happened to you 6 months ago, you should be all right. Because I kind of weirdly feel like now that expectation's on me, because it's like, well, you've dealt with this before, you've been down this road before, so it shouldn't take you a year or 2 years or whatever to, deal with it, because you've done this like many times. But yeah, I feel like those experiences definitely made me a lot more sympathetic to other people, towards their feelings, how they deal with stuff, even how I deal with stuff, to be honest. Because I feel like I would go through stuff in the past and I'd be quite hard on myself for like the way I've dealt with it. But after going through this, I'm like, this is real life. It's okay if you, do you know what I mean? Take a step back and you're like, I'm not okay, or this is too much for me to deal with, or do you get what I mean? Yeah.
Like it's I don't know if you can relate, but I feel like sometimes I get, especially I feel like more so now, where like in the past, I'm like, on one hand, I'm bigging myself up, I've gone through multiple losses, and I'm not saying it as like some badge of honor, like, but I'm saying like I've gone through multiple losses, I've bounced back, but sometimes I don't want to be like, oh yeah, cool, okay, I'm just a strong person, because sometimes like, this is, sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I just want to just have a breather, but obviously that's not how life works. But so sometimes when I go through things, I'm like, it's cool, man, like if you don't have to like have this, let's just get on with it, like just feel how you want to feel, and then bounce back how you want to bounce back. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes I feel like we just, like, well, I don't want to say we, let me not speak for anyone else, but sometimes I feel like I just take this like trauma is like a badge of honor. Like, you know, how many can I take? But that's not normal though. Do you know what I mean? It's
No.
not normal because sometimes, as well as much as I've been through a lot, and I always say like a lot of people have supported me, like, but I still see myself as mentally resilient. But I don't want to be like I'm mentally resilient, and I feel like I can, and anything will come my way. That's it. I'll just take on because at the end of the day, like with anything, it's like your mental health is like same when we have a battery life on our phone. Same for mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
You keep using it, taking it. He keeps taking a beating, decreasing. Like you have to somehow learn to replenish it in it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like because of that, that's why I just the word strong. Yeah, I'm not
I
involved.
don't like it.
I'm not
I'm not.
involved.
I'm
I
not.
mean,
I'm not strong.
like
No.
I think it's not an issue, but I think I'm not involved in a sense where like I don't want to be like, okay, I'm strong. So that because when you say you're strong, it means that okay, you're strong. So that means I can handle anything. But it's not. So my thing's like, okay, I'm strong, but you know what? Sometimes listen, I
See,
want to
I don't
just
like the expectation that comes with it.
yeah, exactly.
I don't like it. I'm not strong. I say this to people that even when I was in the hospital, the nurse was holding my, she goes, because she knows me, like she's seen me so many times over the years, and it's like she made a little joke. She's like, we know each other, but we're trying not to
Yeah.
know each other. So when I had my last scan, and obviously like whatever's happened, she's holding my hand. She goes, "Oh, Laura, you're a strong woman." In my head, I'm screaming, thinking, "No, I'm not. I'm actually not." Like I might not necessarily be sitting here crying. So I think I was quite numb going through
Yeah.
the whole process this last time, but yeah, I just thought, no, I'm not strong. But equally, what I did learn from the previous ones is to give myself the breather and know that it's okay. So if all I achieved on that day was get out of my bed, pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like I've gone from that place of being like, oh, I don't know anyone else that's gone through as many losses as I have and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, but when you say that out loud, does it empower you? Do you feel stronger for saying it? It doesn't. Do you know what I mean? So like I don't think like that anymore. I'm just like, okay, you're gonna have your good days, you're gonna have your bad days. Like if you encounter other people's similar experiences, maybe you can learn from them, they can learn from you.
Yeah.
But in terms of this whole, yeah, I'm strong, I can go for it. No, I can't. I
Yeah, no,
literally can't.
it's true.
You
I,
know?
I agree, man. And you know, this sounds weird, yeah, but sometimes, yeah, I feel like in life, yeah, you can't escape vulnerability because sometimes I feel like the more you try to do it, it's gonna bite you in the ass.
Yes.
And I know that might be like a wild example, but the reason why I feel like that's a good one because when you try to not, how can I put it, try to shy away from it, it will come back in a way that's uncomfortable. So whereas if you're someone who's okay, you know, you accept vulnerability that some days I'm gonna be vulnerable, despite what exterior you give to the world or people that know you. But if you try to be like, oh, you know, okay, I'm cool, I'm just gonna just do this, I'm gonna cool, no one can see me, and then it comes back to bite you in a way like, okay, you have no choice but to accept it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like for me, I've always been someone like, okay, cool, I can listen. I'm very in tune, like self-work. Okay, you know what? Right now, okay, this is affecting me. Cool. If you need to, like, there's times when I've cried in it, and it's like, okay, right, you know what? It's cool. Do this now. It's fine. It's fine to do it now. There's no issue because for me, I know that once I get through all of that, the vulnerability, I'll be good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that. There's no, and that's like why, like for me, like I'm a sort of person like if I'm going through something, I'd rather just go through it. I don't want to like, oh, you know what, like, you know, like typically okay, for example, when people like, I know it's kind of like a Disney sort of like perception, yeah, but you know, people go through a breakup, you know, they're trying to like firm it and be like, oh yeah, I'm cool, so maybe they might start doing stuff to master pain, maybe like going out a bit more. Me, I'm not doing that. Listen,
No.
I would rather just be
Yeah.
take it as bad as it comes, like take it, and then cool. So I know like in a week's time, 2 weeks, I'm better rather than trying to pretend, yeah, because and sometimes I've done that before where I'm trying to mask it. I'm like, this isn't working.
So have I.
This isn't working. Do you know what I
So
mean?
have I. I will suppress it and then it will just erupt and come out in a really bad way.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, it's okay, feel your feelings. When you're ready, come out of it. Just don't stay there.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like with this last one, I spent a lot of time in my house. A lot of time in my house. I didn't go nowhere. I didn't want to go out. I think it's probably one time that I went out. It was someone's birthday. And then as soon as I got home, I think I didn't leave the house again for about a week. Because I just thought to myself, I probably wasn't ready to be outside.
Yeah.
and pretend like, yeah, everything's cool.
Yeah,
I was
exactly. Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
cool.
That's what I'm saying, man.
So yeah, I find that so hard. And even stuff like going back to work. Like I thought I was ready, and I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm so grateful that I have such a good manager, because he was so understanding. If I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what, I can't do it. He's like, don't worry. When you're ready, you let me know. Like you come back. But then something interesting did happen when I was ready to go back to work. I've logged into the system to like check my payslip, and
Yeah.
this thing pops up. I'm not sure if it was a system error or something. I know they're still looking into it. But this thing pops up and it's just like, Laura, you've got an open absence share because of pre-birth, whatever. I can't remember. It says
Open
something.
absence.
Yeah. And it's like, if you've returned to work yet, tell your manager so they can close it. And I'm like, hold on a second. This thing is basically telling me in bold letters, yeah, you're off work because you lost a baby. And I was
Wow.
so triggered. I just shut down the laptop and I went back to bed. I messaged
Wow.
my manager and I was like, I can't do this.
So, right, I mean, that's not, I mean, I don't know
It's a
the
weird.
policy.
He's saying that he's never seen that before. He spoke to, I think, our office manager. He's also never seen anything like that before, and he just kept apologizing because he was like, "I can't imagine that. It's taking you such a while to be able to, build yourself up. Be like, come back to it, and come back to it, and come
Yeah.
back to it. And then the day you come back, this is what you encounter."
But why did they do that though?
I think it's a system error, because I think they've changed
Way.
part of the way. Because I know, like, if you go through something like that, it goes down as a special type of
Yeah, yeah.
absence. But I think while I was off, they've made some changes to the system. So
No, that's a bit
yeah,
wild though. I'm
I
not gonna
just couldn't
lie.
believe what I was seeing. I thought, am I going crazy? Like, am I really reading what I'm seeing there? But yeah, that just knocked me. So I think in the past, I probably would just be like, oh, do you know what? Fine, I've seen it. I probably might cry and I'll be okay. And then I'll
Yeah.
pretend I'm all right and continue.
Mm.
This one, I was like, you're not okay. And it's absolutely fine to feel the way that you feel, because you wasn't expecting that to pop up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, I'm not ready to come back. He just kept apologizing. He's so sorry. He's just like, take the time that you need. And then when I did come back, it's like he wanted to talk to me about it, but he wasn't sure if I wanted to. So,
Mm.
so it's kind of like testing the water. And I was like, no, it's all right. We can address it.
Yeah.
And he was just explaining, like, I've gone to raise this with HR because I don't believe that anyone should ever,
Yeah, that's a bit. I mean, it's just, yeah. I don't know. That's a bit wild, man. I think, and it's not. It's not to say. I feel like, again, what I was saying earlier, I think with these things it's sensitive, man. So I feel like you can't be. Yeah, you have to treat it. You have to treat it in a certain way, and just saying system error is a bit like, okay, well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't
it's a
know,
bit
man.
somehow. I was just
That's a
like,
bit.
I was really shocked. But yeah, I've definitely learned not to just push myself because other people think I'm okay or I
Yeah.
should be okay after a certain amount of time. To whether it's going back to work, going out, or even like having people in my space. Like I didn't want anybody in my space. I just wanted to be by myself, and like I had to make myself understand that it's okay. You don't have to have people around you. I get it. Yes, people are going to support you. That's fine. They can support you through the phone, through the text. They can send you food and Uber Eats, whatever. But you don't have to say okay to having people in your space if you're not ready to.
Yeah, exactly.
If the best way you can deal with this is sitting by yourself for a minute, don't feel like you're being selfish or being, out of order to someone because they might want to come and check on you, see if you're okay, but you're just not in a place to receive it. Do you know what I mean?
Like no, you wasn't. Oh, you wasn't. No, so last year, we done something a bit different where like when it came to baby loss awareness week. So we had a few guys on.
Yes, I remember.
So they were sharing their experiences. Well, as in when I said experience, I mean from their point of view, because their partners had miscarriage.
Yeah.
So they started this miscarriage for I didn't want to misquote it, but they started basically like a platform to raise awareness on that. And like one of the things we're talking about, and the reason why I'm bringing it up because I mentioned celebrities. No, I think no, not celebrities. I think I mentioned what's her name, Chrissy Teigen. She had lost a baby in it, and so she shared it. which is intact. She has every right
Yeah.
to if she wants
I
to. Do you
think
know what I
we
mean?
spoke about it
Like,
actually when we last did this. Because remember we were talking about people saying that why did she put the pictures out
yeah,
and that
exactly, yeah. And I feel like this is the thing. Like, I get it. Like, people can, if you want to share your pregnancy from the minute you find out to baby on, that's fine. But I also understand why people don't even
mm-hmm.
like share nothing, because honestly, these this is what I'm saying. These things, social media, obviously, we already know how it goes when it comes to sharing things. People are always gonna have an opinion, yeah. But I feel like there should always be a line, like, and it's
Yeah.
not. And I know, like, it might be biased, but there should always be a line in the sense where when it comes to how people express, if they want to express grief, if
Mm-hmm.
they don't like that should listen. You know what? As much as listen, you can comment on that celebrity doing this and that, but when it comes to those things, I feel like, okay, no, cool. You know what? I'm not gonna. Let me just chill.
So
Let me
are
just
you
sit out
aware
this
of
one.
what's happened since
Um,
those pictures were released? This is 2019 that happened. Have you
no,
seen
the Chrissy Teigen one.
Chrissy Teigen?
No, that was last year, I think.
It was a year before.
Was it?
It was the year before. But do you know what's happened since then? So she put out whether it's an article or a statement or whatever, basically saying that she had to have an abortion to save her life. So
Oh
people
wow.
now came to jump back and be like, hold on. So she was showing all these pictures saying that she lost her baby, but she didn't lose her baby. She just decided to get rid of it. And I'm like, this is why, for me, social media is a blessing and a curse.
Mm,
You get these keyboard warriors that are so quick to jump on something, be like, oh, you see, look, she lied to us. No, go and read what she said,
yeah.
right? She had to have the baby removed from her. It wasn't a case of, I got to 4 months pregnant and just woke up and decided, actually, I don't want to be pregnant anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what happened. For medical reasons, she had to have that abortion, right? And instead of people to actually read what's written, they just come and jumped and be like, oh, she's a liar. So we were feeling sorry for her for no reason. And it's just like, do the math. Does it sound, you know?
Yeah. Like, you mean it's a hard decision that she had to save her. And again, this is what I'm saying. People, and I feel like this is the sad thing. Like, of course, like, in the ideal place, social media should be a thing where you share what you want to share.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna have opinions, and sometimes people are made to feel, oh, am I doing too much by sharing this? But me personally, there's no such thing. You share what you want to share. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna can have an opinion, but I just feel like, and this is not you gonna hold it now. I just feel like some things you don't have to comment. You don't have to comment. Like,
Yeah.
not everything must be commented. Like, and I feel like people get this whole thing because we do have freedom of speech. You can say this, say that. But sometimes, listen, just use emotional intelligence. You don't have to comment on it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when it comes to like women and pregnancy, or this whole idea of when you're gonna have a baby, like, I know it's not me just saying it as a guy. I know that there's always certain things I can understand, but
Mm-hmm.
those things, me, I still listen. Like, end of the day, like, people, when that happens, I'm happy, but I just feel like people, and it's sad, isn't it? Because I feel like how do I describe it? The whole, when you're gonna have a baby, as men get older, yeah, we may get asked those questions if you haven't settled on, you haven't. But like,
Mm-hmm.
it's more of a like, oh, right, you're getting old, you're settling down. But and maybe the pressures are not the same when a woman's getting older and she doesn't have a baby, and if she wants to, like, people, it's not the same. I feel like the mental pressures are different,
Mm.
because that person might be trying and you'll keep asking, oh, when are you gonna, like, it's like, relax, man, chill,
You see,
just,
that's the
you know what
thing
I'm trying
though,
to say.
because even like people that know what I've been through, they still come to me and say it. And to me, I'm like, apply some sensitivity. Like,
Yeah, and
what's
that's what
wrong
I'm
with you?
saying,
Why
man.
would you
It's not.
still? Oh, but when are you gonna have a baby? Like, you should think about it. I had a conversation the other day, and I was told about looking at the possibility of things like IVF and all of these things, and I was basically told like, look, a guy can go and have a baby at the age of 80. You can't, and you've just turned 37, so I'd advise you to start looking. I'm like, I appreciate
Yeah,
the sentiment behind what you're trying to say, but my issue is not a case of, oh, just go and get IVF and that's how you're gonna have your baby. I actually have a condition, right?
mm,
Um, and it's basically like an inflammation of the placenta. I can't control what my body's doing. When I get
yeah,
pregnant, my body assumes that the baby is me being sick, so it's trying to
okay,
reject. Do
okay,
you understand?
yeah,
So someone just telling me, oh yeah, well probably IVF's the answer to all your problems, and I'm just like, don't you think I would have tried that years ago
Yeah.
if that's what the case was? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So to just kind of look and think, those who are close to me, you've watched me for years struggle with this thing and go through it so many, many, many times. Like, I don't really think it's appropriate to come to me and tell me, oh, you're getting older. Don't you think? So what do you think I was trying to do when I was pregnant all those times?
Yeah, that's that.
Do you understand? Like,
Yeah.
like I wasn't doing it for the fun of it. Like, I genuinely wanted to have a child. And unfortunately, things have just worked out the way that they are. But you coming to tell me and now adding extra pressure makes me feel, you know, because I was even talking to my friend about things like marriage. It's like, you now get to a point where you start questioning yourself and you're like, God forbid, but what if I could never have a baby? Should I be pursuing marriage? Because what if my husband wants a baby and I can't give him one? Or, you know, because like this time around, for example, the specialist that I was seeing in the hospital suggested that I try something called progesterone. So you have to basically insert that into yourself every day. And take aspirin on top of that to thin my blood. So the idea is that if you start bleeding while you're pregnant, it won't be enough or as much like as you if you were having a miscarriage.
Yeah.
You'll bleed, but the baby will be okay. And it didn't work. So it's almost like okay, so we've tried, you know, the ultimate thing that they said we should try and it hasn't worked. Like, what do you do now? Like, going forward, I'm getting told, you know, maybe you need to go private now. Or I think one of the doctors at the hospital said to me that you need to, she's like, I know you don't want to, but you need to go back to your GP. And if you have to kick and scream, then that's what it is. Because if they're saying that it's a inflammation in your placenta, then maybe they need to look at things like donor eggs and or other things. Because obviously I've had like the 6th and 7th miscarriage, after I had my scans, they said there's no heartbeat. I got put to sleep so they could take baby out because they needed to test it. Because I've had other times where I've gone to A&E and, you know, they've written down on the bottom of my notes, like, don't, if I'm bleeding, don't let me go home like that, because they need to collect everything so they can test it. And unfortunately, they've let me go home. And so, you know, by the time I've come back, everything's already come out and stuff like that. So it's like, what do you do? What's your next step? So do you even sit there and think about like getting into, you know, the long-term relationship, looking at marriage and things like that? Because in the back of your head, it's like, what if I can't? And you know culturally what our people are like. It's just going to be like, oh, okay, so you're married now go and have a baby. Like, okay, so what if that's a stumbling block? What do you do then?
This is, and you know what? Yeah, and I say this respectfully. Yeah, of course, like, you know, in our culture, of course, Nigerian gynecologist is quite similar. But you know, when it comes to those things, don't ask me. Don't like.
No,
Do you know what it
it's
is?
too
Because
much.
I get it. Sometimes it comes from. It doesn't come from a place of, you know, trying to rush you. But sometimes just chill. Just chill. You know what? Like, it will happen when this happens. Like, but sometimes realizing those comments that may not necessarily be said in some sort of malice here, but it plays on you. Think, okay, you know, maybe
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit. I'm getting a bit. Oh, okay. I need to start thinking of,
Yeah.
you know, these things. But sometimes, look, I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? There is like biology at play. Do you know what I mean, with certain things in it? But at the same time, yeah, if you do stuff, and this can be applied to anything, and maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but if you do anything because you're getting older, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Again, I get it. Someone can listen to this or watch and say, well, that's easy to say, but you got to understand, like, when people get to a certain age, biology plays a part, and I'm not disputing that, but I'm just saying, for the most part, if you're driven by, because people around me telling me this and that, I'm getting older, nah,
I guess I should do it because it's not socially acceptable
exactly,
if I do it at a
because
later stage in life or whatever.
what's worse is that when you now make a decision based off of I'm getting older, the people who are telling you, you know, do this, do that, they're not gonna feel the consequences, because
No.
I'm trying to say, that's why I
Doesn't
feel
affect
like,
them.
just when it comes to, like, cool, people get married and it's a beautiful thing, but don't rush to say, okay, when you have a baby, just, you know, just look, enjoy, let them, just leave them be. You know, again, people might announce it. People usually, sometimes people like announce it when they've had it. Just let people.
Yeah.
I mean, let people do their thing, man. Because pregnancy is not a joke, man. And I'm not saying like I've experienced it, but like the stories I've heard from people who have had babies, I'm like, raw. This is actually
It's
like,
not easy.
it's a lot,
Easy
man.
at all.
Like, and I remember there was this woman. I think well, I think she's kind of like an influencer. Like when she had her first child, she said she lost her hair. Like one even said she lost some teeth. Like
Yeah. I think it's called postpartum shedding. So like you can lose your hair.
yeah,
Pregnancy does a lot to your body, you know. It does
it's-
a lot to your body, and I feel like people don't realize the effects it can have on you, whether it can make you really ill. I know someone that for most of their pregnancy, she had to wear a brace and walk with crutches to support herself because the pregnancy was affecting her body so much so a basic thing like walking
wow.
was too much for her. She was put on bed rest. If she ever did have to get up, she had to put a brace on her belly and walk with crutches. And even things like that, if it's not for meeting that particular person, I would never even think that, you know,
Yeah,
pregnancy can do something like that to your body. Because I think people just tend to think that it's just a physical thing, as in like, okay, you get bigger and then you get smaller,
yeah.
and that's it. And that's it's so much more than that. It's
No,
so much more than that.
yeah. Like obviously, like that's why like I'm just big on like just don't let people go through their journeys, man. Like life is hard as it is already. You know what I'm trying to say, and these things are beautiful, you know, like marriage, like babies and stuff. But honestly, man, just let
Yeah,
people
let
do what
people
they're
be.
doing.
But then also, I think I've come to the realization that the elders, the older generations, they're just they're doing what they know. So I don't take offense to it anymore
Yeah,
because once upon a time someone said that to them, when are you gonna go get married? When are you having kids? Because you know, with us, like you could win the lottery. That no one cares. They want to know when you're getting married and when you're gonna have your kids.
yeah.
That's the be all and end all of everything. Um, they don't know any better.
But
Sometimes they don't know how to apply that sensitivity. I'm not saying that it's necessarily we should, you know, allow them for it, like give them a blight or whatever, but they literally are just doing what they know. So to me, I think I've got to the point where I don't take offense to it. I used to get so emotional about it and feel like, you know, the way these guys are coming at me, oh, you know, you're getting older, you gotta have kids and whatever. I'm just like, am I less than? Am I not
yeah, no,
enough?
definitely
Am
not
I,
less than, man.
you know?
That's something you got to remember. And the thing is, and you know, like what you said, it's like they don't. It's what they've been conditioned and what they've learned.
Yes,
And it's
that's
like
it. They've been conditioned. That's the word.
they see marriage as an achievement. Marriage is not an achievement. A baby is a blessing. I get that, but sometimes, and maybe like I don't know, man. Maybe like do you know what it is? It's not. Sometimes I'm not someone there where like I can. Don't worry, I want all those things, but for me, that's not what makes me. I'm not gonna sit and say, oh, I don't want those things. Like I want it to happen in it, but it's not a personality. It's not like okay, cool. I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe it's just me in it. But I don't. Okay, like yeah, cool. One day we'll get married. But it's not like okay, cool. Like if I get married, oh my gosh, I've made it in life.
Yeah,
Like
that's how I
yeah,
feel.
and I get it. A baby is a blessing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as much as I want those things, I'm not like okay. So I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, like I don't want to say like I'm not gonna lie and say I don't want those things. But it doesn't like define me. And I think the reason why I had that mentality is because I feel like if I make it define me and stuff, then mentally it's gonna affect me. Because if those things don't happen, oh my gosh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I don't want that.
No,
Like
I
it's just
agree.
I don't
I
and
feel like, is it part of the goals that I have for myself? 100%
yeah,
yes. But at the minute, I've got so many other things. I'm grateful that I've got other things to focus on and work on.
yeah,
So that, and if I make it in those areas, then for me, I've made it.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Having the husband, having the baby for me is a bonus. And I have to look at it like that for the sake of my mental health.
yeah,
I absolutely have to. Because if I now come and make that my focus, I feel like it's almost going to become an obsession. And
yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah,
do you know what I mean? Everything I do, everything I think about, everything I breathe, I eat is all just going to be about, I want to have a baby, I want to have a baby, I want to have a baby. And unfortunately, it's not something I'm in control of.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
So
not, and sometimes I do get it. I do get it. Yeah, and not even a cheeky way. Sometimes there's some people where like it's like they make their whole life about getting girl, getting man. Sometimes it's not. It's not every. It's like
there is more to life,
yeah, it's like
basically.
you know what I mean. It's like just
There
relax,
is
man.
more to life.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, every day, just like your whole being is just about just like. And it's not just, I'm not saying just it applies to girls, even like guys, like you just like relax, bro.
You see,
Like,
and that's the thing. When you put that pressure on yourself and then you now haven't achieved that and you now start getting told, oh, when are you going to get married? You have to be married before 30 or whatever. You put pressure on yourself. Never mind someone else coming to say to you, when are you going to do this thing? Because you're obsessing about it and you've made it like the focal point of your life, you can't see anything else. You know, if you actually step back, you'll think to yourself, hold on, I've achieved other things. I don't know, I graduated, I got this
yeah,
really cool job, or I learned how to drive, I bought a house. But it's like all of those achievements don't mean anything now because you're focused on that one thing.
yeah, exactly. It's true. I think once you can be, I feel like again, it's all about healthy balance. I'm not saying you can't, you can still want those things,
Mm-hmm.
but don't make it like, oh my gosh, if this it doesn't happen, that means that's it. I'm done. Like but
Yeah.
no, just have a healthy, like I don't know, have a healthy relationship with it, man. And
I
yeah, I
think
don't know, man. Yeah, I feel like yeah, listen, like yeah, I think on a last note, this is, and again, this all applies to me as well. I'm not just saying this to say like, oh, like I don't have no learning to do, but don't ask people when they're gonna have a baby, even when they're gonna get
Stay
married.
out of
Yeah,
people's
yeah.
wombs.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's just,
Oh my
hey,
goodness. Stay out of people's
listen,
wombs.
that's gonna be that's gonna be the title. You know what I mean? And because again, it's not just about, again, we all can be curious in it, but you don't.
Mhm.
Not everything must be said. Do you know what I'm
I
trying to say? And
agree.
even with close friends, as much as like we're close, I will never dare ask you certain things because I know it's sensitive. So sometimes you
Yeah.
got to use emotional terms amongst your friends as well.
Yeah.
I've got friends who now they've now had babies, but prior to that, I wasn't asking, "Are we not gonna listen?" You lot are your own journey. Let you lot have to focus on that yourself. Like you don't need other people, especially close friends, coming to ask you when this is gonna happen
Yeah.
because it's not a joke, man. People, you don't know what people are going through. Do you know what I mean? So
100%.
it's just hoping and praying that yeah, man, we'll all get there. I think that's our cue.
One
Um,
day.
but listen, Laura, man, I definitely want to have you back on. But it's been
Oh,
a pleasure
thanks
so
for
far,
having me
and I
again.
and I hope everyone that's been listening has got something from this. Again, it's Baby Loss Awareness Week this week, so please share this with
Yeah.
anyone
Kicking
who
off
might.
tomorrow, 9th to the 15th. Get
Exactly.
involved where you can.
So yeah, man, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Cool.